Oh,
being scattered to the winds.
there definitely is. So we've got a deep trip today. We're going through Snake Pit, and we are going to be looking at some 24-inch Christmas trees.
It's checking how wet it is.
Yeah. It's called the Snake Pit entrance for a reason. Just making sure there's no snakes down there.
In addition to looking at some new formations that have not been described, we're also going to be picking up petri dishes that we deployed last trip. This is going to be a really deep trip for us, but it should be really exciting.
Last time I'm standing for the next hour. Throw my head up.
Should be good. I'm excited.
So the team's biggest challenge this week and a half was an entrance-to-entrance trip. We started at the highest point of the cave, the Snake Pit entrance, and worked our way over the course of 7 hours out to the natural entrance. The first 500 feet of the cave was more or less a belly crawl through passages with an average height of 9 inches tall, and many passages were also about 20 inches in width. So we're talking very small, very narrow, very confined spaces where you get your body into one position with your bag in front of you, and you're locked in that position for 50 feet.
It was an hour and a half of tight squeezes and crawling on your arms and inchworming your way through the cave. I had a great time. Being one of the shorter team members kind of plays to an advantage in certain environments in the cave. Being able to snake through really tight squeezes comes in handy.
There was a part where I accidentally fell in a way I wasn't supposed to be, and I was able to get myself out because I'm much smaller than others.
And so the tall people would be pinched in this 90-degree bend with their feet in one squeeze and their chest in another squeeze. So for me, as one of the taller team members, that was the more unpleasant part of the Snake Pit squeezes, whereas our shorter team members just zipped right through and they were gone, and distant sounds of their feet out in front of us.
There.
The hardest part about Snake Pit is the mental component. Caving in general is a really mentally straining, and you have to keep your cool when you're in the cave. You have to have that mentality of, okay, I've got to keep going to get out of the cave. But it's so worth it to find all of these new formations that we're finding in the cave.
We were able to do many short little scientific discoveries along the way. We stopped at Santa's Frosted Forest, and we were able to do some initial spectroscopy of the trees there and see if there were any different mineral deposits that were trapped within the calcite forest there. And then we also stopped at the Room of the Candlestick.
Beautiful. Okay,
Nobody had done any formal documentation of them beyond a couple of very grainy pictures that had been lost to time. And so there was always this mystery of, what are they?
Okay, Jackie, I'm going to...
Let's see if we can figure out a way to study it without damaging it, because there's only 4 in the whole cave. And as far as we know, there might be only 4 in the world. This is a very unique formation in Wind Cave.
All right, well, what you could do.
It's a hollow calcite cone that's maybe 1.5 inches in diameter, 24 inches tall.
Hey, not going to damage this thing. But it's going to be more comfortable down there for you. You see it? Okay,
So he was just messing around with lights, just, normal lights, trying to see if you could see the light go through the speleal film. And it was incredible, just him messing around with the lights. It lit up in a rainbow out of nowhere.
hold steady, just like why.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
I was freaking out, trying to give me the phone, who has a phone? Just try and capture it, because it was not anything any of us expected. It was awesome. It was awesome. I love that candlestick. It was great. I think that's going to be my highlight of this entire trip, is just finding that candlestick.
Never.
Okay, stay there.
Never
So I can get the whole side profile here.
That was a tremendous success, to be able to actually walk into this room, see this feature that only a few people had seen, and be able to figure out most of its story within a couple of minutes. And then we had a whole bunch more questions that came up because of our results right there on the spot, and we ran out of time, which is always a key thing with science. If you don't have questions after you solve your first questions, maybe you haven't investigated enough. Science lends itself to further investigation, so a successful science trip always leaves you with a few more questions for the next trip.
Oh, that is just... And it's blue, yellow, orange, red.
Send it back home.
It's almost like you got like a beard going with the dirt.
Oh, yeah, I was definitely eating a lot.
So, how's the snake pit?
Wormy.